boundless oceans, covering over 70% of our planet. They are full of life, a place of magic. Hidden within these mysterious depths lives one of the oldest forms of life on the planet, wild sea plants. For thousands of years, Asian cultures have used sea plants as a major source of food and medicine. The Japanese culture in particular has been revered for their abundant health and vitality. Incredibly, there are over 23,000 Japanese citizens currently living healthy, active lives over the age of 100. No other country in the world even comes close to this astounding record of longevity. So what is the secret to long life and vibrant health? Wild sea vegetables. Nearly 25% of all Japanese food sources come from these mystical sea plants. For generations, they have drawn from the life force of the ocean to nourish their bodies. In most cultures, modern families find themselves eating an empty diet of fast food and microwave meals. This is not what nature had in mind. Yet there still is a way to get the best of what nature has to offer. By using a truly natural liquid supplement that contains a unique blend of 9 potent sea vegetables. Body Balance by Life Force International. Now we can replenish our bodies with over 120 nutrients from Earth's greatest natural resources. Modern science is rediscovering the power of sea plants, what may be the most potent form of nutrition in the world. Sea plants contain high concentrations of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and amino acids. Nature, giving back to our bodies what our modern society has taken away. So what is it that makes Body Balance so effective? It's the powerful combination of sea vegetation and another of nature's miracle plants, aloe vera. As far back as 460 BC, the Greeks were tapping into the mystical powers of nature. Greek physician Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, and Dioscorides, master of Roman pharmacology and physician to the great Roman Empire's armies, both documented and used aloe vera for its miraculous healing ability. Today, aloe vera is among the most widely used substances in the United States for the treatment of burns and bruises. Topically, few remedies are as superior. But modern science has now confirmed what the Greeks have known for centuries. Aloe vera is a lot more than just a burn remedy. It has also been shown to have powerful effects on the inside of the body. The aloe leaf alone contains over 75 nutrients and 200 active compounds, including 32 vitamins and minerals and 18 amino acids. There are literally hundreds of research papers indicating modern uses for aloe vera. In fact, there are nearly 500 medical works published in the last 50 years alone. These third-party studies indicate that aloe vera may be effective for boosting your immune system and aiding in proper digestion. So as the scientific evidence continues to mount, the case for taking aloe vera on a daily basis gets stronger and stronger. Due to our modern lifestyle, our cells are left under constant attack by toxins and weakened by a lack of nutrients. And things are not getting better. Cancer went from 1 in 20 deaths in 1910 to 1 in 4 deaths in 2003. Type 2 diabetes has skyrocketed 600% in the last 40 years. Mysterious autoimmune disorders like chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia are all on the rise. We need to rebuild our systems with superfoods from nature that nourish our bodies at the cellular level.
So the bottom line is you're getting those trace minerals, those elements, and those phytonutrients at a high level. So it really, it's like having an insurance policy for my patients, because once they get on it and they see the results, it's actually, I couldn't get them off of it.
Live better by helping your body help itself. Body Balance. Liquid aloe vera and unique sea plants are excellent sources of nutrition that give back to our bodies what our diets and lifestyles are lacking. Each ingredient could stand alone, but brought together in this unique product creates a powerful combination of land and sea. Body Balance, a whole food liquid product that is tried, proven, and superior. This whole food liquid has up to a 98% absorption rate, is enjoyable and easy to consume, and works almost immediately.
I see dynamic results, not only myself using Body Balance, but my patients see dynamic results. Because of the absorbability of the product, they're able to ingest it and absorb it much quicker than a lot of the other whole food supplements that I use, but solid pill form supplements.
The difference in a whole food product and a vitamin is a whole food absorbs, goes directly into the system or the cells of the body, where a vitamin could possibly just lay there because a lot of vitamins still has the fiber and fillers in them.
Body Balance has been changing people's lives for over 2 decades. Once available only to health professionals, Body Balance has been recommended by over 6,000 doctors, who have in turn recommended it to tens of thousands of their patients. This level of natural product support from health professionals is unprecedented. William J. Sackerman, MD, recognized by the World Congress for his work and a team member to Nobel Prize winner Dr. Linus Pauling, stated that after researching virtually every liquid supplement out there, he will only recommend Body Balance. He has prescribed Body Balance to over 18,000 patients with a universal acceptance. Body Balance, the superior whole food product for supporting optimum health. And it's not just the ingredients that make it superior. The Life Force manufacturing facility is committed to achieving the highest quality and consistency in each and every bottle. Body Balance is a bioactive nutritional supplement. Each batch is cold processed, which means that the enzymes and phytonutrients are kept intact and alive for our body's use. There are some very compelling reasons to use bioactive whole food supplements. Many vitamin manufacturers use industrial processes to separate out individual minerals and nutrients to form isolated synthetic chemicals. These manufactured ingredients are then glued together with binding agents and hydraulic pressure. Is it any wonder that vitamins and minerals like that are so difficult to absorb? For the human body to work at its optimum level, the integrity of each nutrient must be maintained in perfect balance with one another. Body Balance contains essential nutrients in nature's perfect balance, providing vitamins, minerals, amino acids, essential fatty acids, and enzymes. Your body has a tremendous capacity to heal itself and bring itself back into balance. All you have to do is feed your body the right things. Life Force products are based on this wellness philosophy. When the body gets what it needs, it then has the ability to address its own health challenges. Nourish yourself all the way to wellness with 9 varieties of wild sea vegetables and organically grown and processed aloe vera. Body Balance can change your life. Just drink 2 to 8 ounces a day and let your body be the judge. This fantastic tasting product will provide your body with what it craves in seconds. Balance your body with the nutrient richness of both the land and the sea. Find your life force with Body Balance.